Jalagisiwonihi. Do you speak Cherokee?
CO, welcome back. I've got my coffee, so let's begin. Idalena. I just wanted to take the time to give you an overview of how I write so that I can show you more things, more words, more phrases, and you'll be familiar with how I do my writing system. So far, hopefully you've been learning the Cherokee syllabary from other videos or from other sources. I recommend that you learn the syllabary first. I would prefer that you not just learn one aspect, you learn every aspect of the syllabary. Learn the sound, learn how to write it, learn how to read it, try to visualize it, get familiar with the different syllabaries. I would prefer that you learn it in order, and I have a video that you can use to learn it in order if you'd like. Underneath, I'm showing the Standard Transliteration, and I've broken it down into syllables for you. With the Standard Transliteration, you don't always know where the syllables begin and end when you're a beginner. This is ja, la, gi, s, he, wo, ni, he. I've taken the liberty to put this into my extended transliteration form. And you'll notice I have a TS here. Often I will put certain parts of the Standard Transliteration in parentheses while doing the phonetic version in the extended transliteration. This is so that you can understand a little bit more easily how to get back to the syllabary, that pathway from the standard to the syllabary and back and forth. I don't always use this, but in the beginning of teaching, I will often use this. So here we have ja, la, gis, and you'll notice these are in caps. And the reason I do that is because even though per se there's not a series of accents in Cherokee, there is a rhythm and there are stressed syllables. Because different speakers will speak differently, I've identified the most common ways that these stress patterns and rhythms will go with the words that I show you. So it's ja, la, gis, he, wo, ni, he. And that's the rhythm. It's usually an on-off rhythm, but sometimes it'll change once you move from one word to the next word. But for the most part, it'll flow pretty naturally. Once you learn that, Cherokee gets a lot easier. Now, what I've also done is I've included the tone markings. Now, this is my own method of using the tones. I've added these 5 lines with the dot, and it's supposed to represent basically a makeshift version of a musical score. I use the FACE spaces in between. So I'd use the first level for 1, the second level for 2, the third level for 3, and the fourth level for 4. Those are the 4 tones that you're going to be using in the Cherokee language. So I've highlighted these, I've underlined them also. There are times I've underlined to show the stress on the syllables. I've also used a caret in some places. And the reason I've resorted to using caps and then lowercase is because some online areas, if you're copying and pasting, it'll erase the formatting. It'll erase the bold, it'll erase the underline. So that's why I've resorted to using this as my common approach. Ja, la, gis, he, wo, ni, he. And you can see the pattern here. If this sounds familiar, it's because it's the tune at the beginning of my videos, and it's the phrase that tune represents. Ja, la, gis, wo, ni, he. And you can see that here. Ja, la, gis, wo, ni, he. So this is the whole system of the writing. The total recall method is a separate thing that I'll go over a little more in depth on another video. But as far as how I'm representing the Cherokee words that I'll show you, this is pretty much the system that I'm going to use. I'll try to include all 3 layers, the Cherokee, the Standard Transliteration, and the Bickerdike Extended Transliteration, which includes the notations. You'll also notice There's a dash in some places and 2 dashes in the other. This represents the length of the syllable. And even though I didn't do the exact notation here, that's what this represents as well. If you go to my website, you can hit the play button and it'll play that for you. And also it will show you the shorter notes versus the longer notes. So this represents a shorter syllable. This represents that it's a longer syllable. This is a longer syllable. Anytime you have 2 dashes, it's a longer syllable. 1 dash, it's a shorter syllable. The reason I did this is because it's easy to do on the computer. You don't need special keys to do it. You don't need to insert special characters. This part, you're not going to have. This is in my own font. I do have a font for this that shows all the numbers with these lines. And I've designed a font for the clock face letters as well, which I use when I'm doing computer work and I'm teaching lessons. But for now, if I write this, then you'll know what it represents and you'll know what it means. It's just easier for me to write it. A 2 and a dash, a 2, 1, dash, dash. And what you'll find is that you're going to get about 12 common tone changes. Even though there's 4 tones, you have a limited number of tone changes. Some are going to be more common than others. Once we get to the tones, it will be a lot easier to describe these. It's not as complicated as it looks. It's actually going to be pretty easy for you, I think, because we're going to be using notations to help us along. And that's why I wanted you to get a little bit familiar with how I do the writing and how I do the extended transliteration, why I use the capital letters for the stressed patterns, get you familiar with my system of tones that you can use, and hopefully this will help you out in the process of learning Cherokee. So thanks for joining me. I'll see you on the next video. Waro, donadago ha'i.
If you want to see more videos like this one, click subscribe and share this link with your friends. If you'd like to have all of these memory tips in one place, then in place of one fancy drink through a drive-thru, you can treat yourself to a Cherokee language book like this one, and then you can learn all 86 Cherokee syllabary characters at your own pace. Or keep coming back to this site for more videos, whichever works best for you. You can use the Cherokee Total Recall system to memorize an entire syllabary and more. Visit www.dpbickerdike.com to learn more.